What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. I made a college decision reactions video and a lot of people commented that they wanted to see my stats and stuff like that. So I figured I'd make a stats, advice, and extracurriculars video on how I got into the Ivy League and also other top universities. It's been a few months, I apologize. I got really busy with the end of school and everything, but now that I'm out for summer, I have a lot of time. So yeah, I printed out the Common App that I sent to the colleges, so I have everything right here, and any other thing that I thought would be helpful to provide context to my application. So yeah, let's begin. So first I'm gonna go through like the academic background and stats and stuff like that. So I went to a medium-sized Catholic high school. There were 175 students in my graduating class, and at the time of applications I was 2 out of 175. I submitted my SAT score everywhere and it was a 1540. It was a 780 reading and writing and then a 760 math. I only submitted one AP score, and I'll explain more why in just a second. And that was APUSH, and I got a 5 on that one, so pretty good. And then we only did weighted GPA at my school. We didn't do an unweighted, so I only submitted a 4.7 weighted. So for classes, when I was a freshman, we weren't allowed to take any APs at my school. I think it's the same way. And then sophomore year, there was only one available. So I took that one, and it was APUSH. I think it could have negatively impacted our applications. There was nowhere on the school profile that said you can't take really any AP classes as an underclassman, and so some colleges might see that and think you're not challenging yourself, but you know, what are you going to do, I guess. So I took the one class that I could sophomore year, and then I did honors along with that as well. But I took 2 more AP classes junior year, which was AP Environmental Science and AP World History, and because we had so much like other requirements for classes we had to take, I couldn't fit in any more AP classes until senior year. So I ended up taking 5 AP classes senior year, which was really annoying. It was a lot of work. It was stressful. I would have rather spaced it out more throughout the 4 years, but you know, I couldn't take as much till senior year. So I took 5. I took AP Calc AB, which was a nightmare because I'm not a math guy. AP Lit, which I thought was really easy. It was really fun. AP Spanish, which I also really enjoyed because you get a lot out of it. You're learning a different language. I feel like it's very practical. AP Government, which I thought was pretty easy, and AP Psych, which I also thought was pretty easy. It's really just memorization with like vocab terms. So yeah, I took 8 AP classes over the course of the 4 years. And I know a lot of people will come onto YouTube and be like, I took 15 AP classes or 20 AP classes or whatever. I took 8 and it worked out fine for me. So I think it has a lot to do with your school. The amount of APs that they offer and the structure of when you can take it. Some schools you can take like 5 starting freshman year. Some, like my school, you can't take any. So hopefully the colleges take that into context. So yeah, the next section is my honors and awards. My first one that I put was a grand prize of $10,000 in a statewide driving safety competition. I directed and edited our video submission, which is the main component of the application, and that was statewide, so that was a pretty cool award. I got that when I was a junior, and it was cool. I put a lot of effort into it. I put it in my extracurricular section, so I'll explain more about what that was then. But the next one was called the Dwight D. Eisenhower Leadership Award, which was given by the West Point Society of New Jersey. It was for someone that shows like leadership and like academic like excellence, stuff like that. I said it was school and also state regional because like there's different schools in New Jersey that are, you know, a part of it, like their chapters, and then they'll nominate one junior. I got it when I was a junior as well to be a part of it, and then you can attend like an award ceremony and everything. My school didn't tell me I got it until after the award ceremony happened, so I couldn't go. But yeah, so the next one is called the NJ Hobie State Leadership Seminar, and this was at Drew University. So Hobie is like a nationwide group. They bring in like sophomores that show leadership, you know, potential, and really develop those skills and encourage them to make change in their communities. There's a chapter in every state, so this is why mine was the New Jersey Hobie. And at my school, you just got nominated for it. They nominated one sophomore, so that was me. So if you don't get nominated, you have to pay for the weekend, but I went for free, which was great. So yeah, it was a great experience, meeting a lot of people that were also passionate about, you know, issues like environmental protection and social justice and everything. So it was great. It was a fun weekend. So I recommend it. You know, if your, you know, school sends people to the seminars, I didn't even know my school did it until I got nominated. So you can always tell your guidance counselor that, say like, hey, I'd be interested in something like that, and that would help you in the process because they would know someone would be interested. So like, I'd love to, you know, represent the school and show my leadership skills, you know, on a statewide level. So I know some schools do application-based selection, but mine was just based on like teacher recommendations. So my next award was AP Scholar, which is, I said it was an international one. A lot of people get it, but it shows that you kind of like care about your AP exams. I believe it's like getting a 3 or higher on 3 or more. So I got that. And that was in grade 11. And then finally, I put that I was the president of NHS because I have a lot of extracurricular activities. I didn't have a place to put it in there, so I just decided to put it in the awards, especially because I got president of it. It shows like leadership. So that was for grades 11 and 12. All right, so for my activities, I went through them in detail and it ended up being like a 13-minute clip. So I'm gonna try to breeze through them a little quicker this time. For my first activity, I was the founder and school president of a community mental health awareness group. We advocated for our student body's mental, physical, and spiritual well-being, and it was a coalition between 3 high schools in my community. I'm just going to talk vaguely because I don't want to give away, too much about my location and stuff like that, but I wrote that we helped lead a 5K that brought together over 700 runners and raised over $80,000. So that was a statistic that I was very proud of. And I read that it's good to provide concrete numbers so the schools know that you're actually making a difference and not just trying to fluff up what you actually did. So I did that grades 11 and 12 as well. So my next activity was that I was a student leader in an environmental advocacy coalition. We collaborated with a team to address issues, and I created an educational YouTube channel to teach elementary school students about environmental topics, and I sent them out to the local schools in my area. I did that sophomore, junior, and senior year. It was a great program. I got to meet other people interested in the environment, and I got to work with people that are I got to work with people in the field doing that, the research, the lawmaking, the advocacy, everything like that. So it was a great experience. My third activity, which is a little more bold, I think, was that I was an independent filmmaker. So I put that I directed my video for the driving safety contest, a video for a childhood cancer fundraiser, and director of a school podcast. I did that sophomore through senior year. And I was very proud of the fact that I could use something that I was good at, like the filmmaking, to advertise community campaigns and to help them, get community outreach and stuff like that. So I also put that I do some, more passion projects where I just go out into nature and, record outdoor adventures because that's a lot of fun for me. I love being outdoors. I spend every moment I can outdoors. So that was something that I wanted to put in my application. As for schools like Dartmouth, Middlebury, UVA, like they have a big outdoor community, so I wanted that to translate into my application, and I got into all 3 of them, so I do believe that helped. So next, I put that I was in student government. I was class vice president sophomore, junior year, and then class president senior year. I wrote some of the fundraisers and projects that we worked on, like a Pie Teacher in the Face fundraiser, and I said that we just kind of wanted to make lighthearted fun because sometimes Catholic schools can seem very rules oriented, with the uniform and everything. So to break that tension sometimes is, positive, and I kind of put that in my description. So for my 5th activity, I'm the author of a novel project that I'm working on. I'm not going to give away too many details because I haven't published yet, but it's in the dystopian genre, and it includes topics such as the environment, its connection with technology, and like the fact that laws aren't always just, so you have to have the ability to question them critically to make sure that your society isn't making you blindly obey to something that's, not promoting the common good. That's something I was very interested in. I love to write, so I wanted to put it down. So my next activity was, I kind of regret this one. I put that I was the film director and editor of the driving safety competition because I wanted to provide more context into what I did. It took a lot of effort. I organized meetings with the town council members, with business owners, with police officers, administrators. It was a big project that took place over the span of multiple months. It was a lot of clips I had to think of, organize, and assemble and everything. So I wanted to provide more information to show that I really did have an active leadership role in that process because we ended up winning the statewide contest. So it was something I was very proud of. So for the next activity, I think everybody that's applying to school should have something like this. I put that I was on varsity soccer for all 4 years, and I was a captain senior year, which helped with my leadership. I think schools these days want to see people that are playing sports. I feel like everyone I know applied with at least one sport on their resume. So even, if it's like track, and you don't have to be, the star of the team, but if you're doing a sport, it shows that you can balance your time very well because it is a big time management, and it shows that you're well-rounded. It shows that you're athletic, and that's a very good quality that I think a lot of colleges are looking for, especially schools like Duke. It isn't official, but I feel like from my research, I've seen Duke take students that aren't, only like academically really talented, but also involved in, 1, 2, 3 varsity sports or, club sports at high levels. So some schools are looking for, student athletes, and that's something to think about if you're applying to them. Next activity, I was a Catholic education teacher, which I really enjoyed doing. I taught weekly classes to 5th grade students, over the course of a 9-month period from sophomore, junior, and senior year. It was a lot of fun. It was another activity where I was able to show that I was inspiring youth in my community and encouraging them to be leaders and to make a change when they grow up. So kind of making a cycle of change, which I think is important. And it's fun. I always told them, to just work towards their dreams and to always remember them and to just be compassionate people, because the greatest thing that you can be right now in this world is kind and empathetic, because people are just so quick to being rude, so quick to disagreement and fighting and everything. And, sometimes it's just because they're passionate about something, but you have to have the empathy and listening skills to understand why your opponent has that opposing view. And I think a lot of schools are hopping on that. They want to see people that are open to discourse and stuff like that, and not so, intolerant of other people's opinions. So I think that's important. I saw that with Boston College with one of their supplemental essays. So yeah, I definitely recommend getting involved in your community, in your church, doing something like that, helping out, with a youth sports club or something like that. It's very rewarding. All right, so last 2 activities, mock trial. I was vice president junior years and president senior year. We competed in a countywide competition, which is a lot of fun. So we did actually take those skills and apply them into a competitive setting. And we did very well. We got, we were semifinalists for one of the competitions. And then I put that I'm an ambassador for the admissions department. I wanted to show that I was a good role model for students in my school. Hosting tours, helping with orientation, helping new students get acclimated, being, that comforting person to talk to if they had questions. I think that was very, important, and showed kind of an ability to be kind and helpful to people. It's something I want to do in college. I want to give tours. So yeah, those are all my activities. So now for my essay, I'm not going to read the whole thing because that would take forever, but I wrote a synopsis, so I'm just going to read that. One day during the summer, I walked down the Jersey coast with my brother Robert, and we challenged anybody with a spike ball net to a game. We wanted to improve our skills and enter a tournament at the end of the summer, so we figured that competing against random players would be a great way to prepare. Throughout the day, the games of spike ball transformed into something more profound. They became a place to exchange stories and advice as we encountered people from all over the world. I then transitioned into my love for storytelling and how it translates into my writing and filmmaking. I ended it with a witty joke about Robert and I competing and winning in the summer 2028 Olympics if spikeball is added as an official sport. So I wanted to show a new quality to my application while keeping the thematic focuses, being outdoors, being active. Those are huge parts of who I am. I wrote about that in all my supplementals. Talking with other people, having conversations, having empathy, listening, exchanging life experiences. I wanted all of those things to be staples of my application. I wanted to be someone that they read the application for and pictured them thriving at the campus in a bunch of different groups, not just gravitating towards one corner, but really immersing, themselves in the entire community. And that's what I want to do. I also put in some humor. I thought that was very good. It humanizes me and it kind of breaks up all the applications that these admissions officers are reading because they're reading so many. So, joke here and there can make it a little lighter and make them, laugh. And I think that's definitely important. I was able to incorporate, my love for storytelling, writing, filmmaking. It was just a very great theme to focus on, because that decision to walk down the beach and play people in spike ball became a learning experience. And I think it just opened my eyes to the fact that meeting new people and listening to them is such a transformative experience and helps you grow as a person. So I figured not a lot of people, if anyone's going to write about that. So it was something unique to me in my own life. And I was very happy with how it came out. So that's what I submitted, and I'm happy with it. So lastly, for the advice section, I'm going to make it short because I didn't bring water. I'm losing my voice, and one of the pages didn't print out, so I don't even have it to read. The first thing I put was the college application process doesn't start when you're a senior. It begins as soon as you want it to. So I was doing tours, information sessions, making my list at the end of freshman year. I think it was very helpful because I only applied to the schools that I genuinely could have saw myself going to, including safety schools. And I think that came from doing a lot of research and really understanding what I was looking for. So many seniors don't know what kind of school they want to go to, and they'll either go down the wrong path because they don't have enough time to research it, or they'll just be confused and they won't know how to convey what they're looking for in their application. So get a sense of who you are as a person, get a sense of what you want early on. Start freshman year. It's a great motivator. It's a great goal to work towards. So do it freshman year, make a list. I went on Google Sheets and I just put, for the different columns, a bunch of different criteria that I was looking for. And then I ranked the schools based on them. And I made a great list from it. Like, I ended up applying to 10 schools, and a lot of people will apply to like 23. I think I applied to 10 because I knew what I was looking for. Dartmouth, Yale was kind of a last minute, like, I don't want to only open my dream school on the Ivy League day, so it was something to kind of like buffer. That was the only school I applied to that I didn't genuinely want to go to. Georgetown, which I'm still so mad that I didn't get in because it was my dream for so long, and Washington, D.C. is beautiful, and Georgetown's buildings are beautiful. So if you're watching this from Georgetown, accept me in law school. If I end up applying, please take me for law school. Boston College, UVA, William and Mary, Richmond, Loyola Maryland, Providence, and I think that was it. I don't know if that was 10, but I might be forgetting one. I'm not sure. And also, if you start early, it's going to help your chances of admissions at a lot of places. Schools like Holy Cross, Lehigh, and Tufts, they are looking for people that are going to accept their admissions letter. If they see that you've had contact with them since sophomore year, they're going to think that, they're your number one school, they're your dream school since forever, because a lot of people don't start that early. So creating early contact, doing the virtual information sessions, tours, be a student for a day, all of that stuff will help your chances of admissions. Like, it's statistically proven to give you a better chance. I showed interest to all my schools, even the ones that said that they don't consider it, because I think that's a lie. I showed it to all of them, and I think it helped. Though 2 schools I got rejected from, Yale and Georgetown. Yale, I didn't show any interest. I applied the day before the application was due, and I hadn't shown any interest prior to that. Did that affect it? Maybe, maybe not. I probably wouldn't have gotten it anyway. But if I showed a lot of interest, could I have gotten a wait list? Maybe. For Georgetown, I still don't understand why they rejected me. I would love to know why I didn't get in from an admissions officer. So if you're watching this, just let me know so I can improve for my law school application. But, I have to believe that, everything happens for a reason, and just trust that this is the right place for me. I'm going to be surrounded by nature. I love nature. I love being outdoors. So I think it will ultimately be better. So 2 more pieces of advice, because I don't want this video to be like 45 minutes long. One of them is just live your life. So many people are so obsessed with creating the perfect application that they fill all their time with like activities, volunteer work, studying, stuff like that. And I'm guilty of that. I was, every single day buzzing from one place to the next, trying to create the perfect application. But the truth is, so much that I ended up putting on my final application came from just living my life, especially my essay. Taking a day to go to the beach, not worry about, anything college related or school related, and just play spike ball. That's what I ended up writing my essay on. Nothing academic, nothing about my volunteer work. It was playing spike ball. That's what gave me the inspiration. So you have to have kind of like the full package that they're looking for. And, live your life, have fun. That's a positive. Like, I genuinely believe that's one of the things that got me into Dartmouth specifically. I got along very well with the interviewer, and it's not because, I did talk about, my extracurricular activities and stuff, and he thought they were very cool. But it was just the conversations we had about, me liking Oasis, learning to play the guitar, practicing like holistic health things, like just doing a lot of cool stuff, like humanizing me, making me a more unique applicant. That's what got me into a lot of these places, not getting a 1560 instead of a 1540 SAT. Find your identity, find what's going to make your application unique. Because the people that are applying without a sense of who they are not going to have a strong application. They're going to be relying on their stats to get them in. And that's not good, because a lot of people have a good stats. So having a strong sense of who you are as a person, having a strong character, having lived cool experiences, that's what's going to get you in. So live your life. So finally, my last piece of advice is to have a strong work ethic. I truly believe that this is the best quality that an applicant can have. Like, working a paid job is such an underrated activity, and that's one of my biggest regrets about my application, that I didn't include it. I was deferred from Dartmouth, and I ended up putting my work experience, like among other things, in my letter of continued interest. And I truly believe that that's one of the things that got me in. I talked about how my mom was forced into long-term disability from a health condition, and how that encouraged me to start working more often and saving money because her salary was decreased. And I think just showing that determination, like I wrote, like, going to work on my one day off on a Sunday after CCD for a double shift, like, was the last thing I wanted to do. I wanted to relax. I wanted to sleep. But I did it anyway because my work ethic told me that it would pay off. I would save the money. It would be used towards my tuition. Like, the only school I did submit it to was Georgetown because they, asked about work experience. Didn't get in there, so don't know what happened about that one. But, some things we'll never know. Some things we'll never know. So Georgetown admissions officer, please email me so I can sleep peacefully at night. Especially if you're working like 5 days a week, you have no other choice. You have to support your family. I was lucky enough to only have to work, a few days, but some people are devoting 30 plus hours to work a week. And that, that is such a strong testament to your ability to manage your time and to support the people around you. It's such a strong testament to your character, and I definitely encourage you all to put it. Kind of dragged on a little bit, but I think I got through all of the main points I wanted to cover. I'd definitely like to make another video about my essay now that I have more time, because I love to write and I do think that I'm a strong writer. So I could read it through and then give you guys tips on maybe how to brainstorm the best essay idea and stuff like that. If you guys have any other questions about the college application process, or you want to see any other videos like how I made my list, stuff like that, just comment it down below. I'll definitely have more time now that I'm on summer vacation. I could give more advice on the financial aid part of it because that was a big part of my experience. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Good luck to everybody. Don't stress too much. Have fun this summer, and I'll see you guys in the next video.